Live from our Milwaukee studios with stories that matter to you, this is Fox 6 News.
Tonight's big story, hey taxi, where are you? There's a push tonight to get more cabs on the streets of Milwaukee.
Some cabbies are actually suing to get more licenses, but other taxi drivers say bad idea. Fox 6's Jenna Sachs has both sides of a debate that is really heated.
It's too hard to try to make a living.
A taxi driver for the last 40 years, Benny Lewis says he'd worry for his livelihood if Milwaukee made more permits available to cab drivers.
There's just not enough. It's not enough business.
Milwaukee has a cap on the number of cab permits available to drivers. Alderman Bob Bauman says right now that number is around 320. Bauman has proposed an ordinance to phase in 100 new permits over 5 years.
This way I figured it would be a little more of a phase-in, so you're not dumping a huge quantity of new licenses on the marketplace all at once, which could be disruptive.
Muhammad Abdul Rahim's father is a former cab driver. He says more permits would mean more opportunities for people to earn a living.
It's like affecting the lives of hundreds of drivers.
Abdul Rahim says right now the law favors those who own the cabs and the permits instead of the drivers who rent them. He says his father recently lost his cab after speaking out in favor of eliminating the cap.
The owner felt threatened because my dad was one of the people who went to testify.
Red Christensen is with the Wisconsin Association of Taxi Cab Owners. He says there isn't enough business in Milwaukee to support more permits.
Maybe we could use more cabs on New Year's Eve, or maybe during Summerfest sometimes, but really, there's no major demand for cabs.
He shows us a lot of 30 cabs he says are available now, but there aren't enough drivers.
If there's a demand for cabs, obviously the market would see it as such.
As for the driver who recently lost his cab, we did get the chance to speak with the independent owner of that vehicle on the phone tonight. He admits that the vehicle was taken away, but he denies it was because of the man's recent testimony. Now, there will be a meeting at City Hall tomorrow at 9 a.m. on this cap issue. Alderman Bauman says he especially wants to hear from members of the public about whether they feel there are enough taxis on the streets here in Milwaukee. Reporting live at City Hall, Jenna Sachs, Fox 6 News.
Jenna, real quick, do you think that meeting tomorrow will get heated given the interest that is obviously in this story?
I think so. The last meeting, they said, was actually very heated. They said there were a lot of cab owners there and a lot of cab drivers, and they were taking a lot of different sides on this issues, and it definitely involves some shouting. So who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but I think that's very likely.
Well, we'll be there, I know. Thank you, Jenna, so much for breaking it down for us tonight.
It was a long day for lawmakers in